It goes there. And we're live, but my voice is still in the background. And there we
And we are live.
are. Hi, everyone. It's Mike and Enrica talking to you about TPT.
As
Um,
usual, as every
as
Tuesday.
yeah,
Every Tuesday.
Enrica, do you want to introduce the topic today?
Oh, the topic today is about data. We are talking about data for several weeks now. And how often should I look at my data to make better choices? So, when I need to look at my data in order to improve, and not only to look at that and say, like, I don't have any views, I don't have any sales, I'm sad, I suck, or something like that, that I do
Yeah,
almost every day. So
I think so. So there was a really good comment on one of the YouTube channels where it's basically like like data can be maybe a bad thing for new sellers because it's a distraction. Or there was another idea that actually, if you use the data well, then maybe you can market um, bad resources better, right? Like if you, it's a double-edged
yeah,
sword, right? Marketing and the
yeah.
quality of the
Hi,
resource are
Lisa.
separate.
Sorry,
Sorry,
Lisa.
yeah, don't
Hi,
listen.
Lisa. We have Lisa who is watching us, so she wants to
Hey,
say hi.
um, oh, so Lisa, I'm gonna put your comment on the screen. I was gonna do a shout out to you, but I wasn't sure if it was okay to use your name because you asked the comment there. But since you're here and your name's on the screen, maybe I'll go ahead with it anyway. And that's exciting. You caught us live as opposed to the
Yeah,
replay.
I'm so
Um,
happy.
we get excited by little things here. Okay.
Yeah.
So this was an email. So I'm not going to mention their name, but they replied to one of the newsletters, and the question was, well, how do you work out if page views are down? Does it depend on when the resource was listed? And then another question that sort of popped up. Um, Paula had asked about, it takes some time to get to this 300 views, and we talked in the past about this mythical number, about 300 views. But Lisa, who actually asked this comment here, and I'll click on this, jump to it. So Lisa asked, oh, it didn't take me to the comment. I had the wrong link. That's disappointing. Okay, but it was a fantastic question about like, well, what should I work on? Because in the past set of the spreadsheet, we set it so it's hard coded so that 300, if you had less than 300 page views, it was automatically red, right? And it doesn't mean that you suck at making covers or anything. It just means that the color was actually set, like if it was under 300, it was set to be red. So right now, if you
Okay.
sign up, sorry, go ahead. Yeah,
Go
yeah.
ahead.
Yeah. So right now, if I click on the newest version to get the Google Sheet, and if I just make a copy, and the date is always in the background, I'm constantly updating this based on like feedback and questions from other users. But I'm just going to click on this. I've already downloaded my data, so I'm just going to go File, Import to upload my latest product stats. There it is, my product stats. And so now, Lisa and everyone else, it's set. If I replace the data, import data, give it a second to think. I have to wait a second because sometimes Google takes a while to actually change what's on my screen. There we go. And I have to make sure I delete this first line because it's the headings again now. So now if I go into data and filter views and paid resources, I can sort it by whatever these top columns are. So I can sort it by product review rate. But the default one here is page views. And so now my highest number is automatically going to be green, and my lowest number is automatically going to be red. And whatever is in between, it's going to be a color gradient. So that way, if you're a new seller, it's going to be relative. You're going to see what's the newest, like the most page views versus the last one. And yep, you're right. Page, like to the previous question, it depends on when you publish your resource, because if your resource has been around longer, you probably have more time to get those page views.
Yeah, may I add that I'm sure that your cover don't suck. The problem is also the high competition that is on TPT. So there is no magic data. There is, even if you are really, really good at SEO, your product might be buried. If it's on page 50, nobody will ever see it. Even if it's great, it's beautiful, it has a wonderful cover, engaging preview, thumbnails, and everything that it it's needed. You just, I think it's not only SEO, but it's also trial and error. If I create a product and I put order of operation, there are like 6,000 products that are named order of operation, and I think my product will be right at the end, so nobody will ever notice it. But if I use another, um, how can I say, another wording in the title, like order of operation activity or order of operation escape room or whatever else, there are less products, and tampering with the snippet might help being viewed. Also, sharing your products on Pinterest or Facebook groups and stuff like that might help. If your product is seen and then someone buys it, so it ranks higher in the TPT search engine. If someone leaves a review, it goes higher. And then it's like a snowball. The more people see it, the more people buy it, the more higher you are, and the more sales you make. So it's not just I suck because I don't have 300 views. We 300 views is a number like everybody else, every other number. And I think we talk about 300 views because data are not so significant if you have less views. If I have 2 views and 1 sale, my conversion rate is 50%. What does it mean? Absolutely nothing. But I have a conversion rate that is 50%. So I'm happy because I have a huge conversion rate, but I sold one product and
I
it's
would
not enough.
I would love to
You
add.
don't agree. So I'm
No, no, no,
sure
no,
you
no.
don't
That's
agree.
fine. Like the people watching. So I know, and Enrica, don't say where you first heard the 300 because I'd like to hear what other people say. Um, so anyone who's watching this video, either now or later on, can you reply and let us know where you first heard that number 300 views is what you needed before you start to look at the data. Okay. Oh no. Yeah, me too. I've been so the hardest thing I find is sometimes you have an awesome lesson and then you have no page views and then it feels frustrating, right? Or you think like, oh, my lesson sucks. And it's not that at all. It's just marketing is different from the quality of your lesson. But the question, Enrique, I have for you is, okay, how often do you look at your data? Because I used to do it daily and then I stopped completely. And now I kind of do it every now and then. So
Okay. Disclaimer, don't do what I do.
okay. Yeah.
You
Excellent.
know, this is the first thing that I have to say. And I look at my data several times a day, I think.
Do you really?
Because, yeah,
Like your product stats?
yeah, I look at my product stats at
Okay.
least daily. I have this, I'm lucky because I have this, I think it's called eidetic memory, is the one from Dan Brown, the writer,
Yeah.
the character of the book had this kind of memory, and so I remember numbers. I remember almost everything. I used to. Now, old age is coming up,
So
so I don't. And so
okay.
I can. My brain is able to elaborate a little this data and to see if there is an improvement or not or something like that. If I need something more than just like a hunch, I need to download my data, and I would love to do it monthly, every
Okay.
end of a month.
So walk me through what you do monthly. If you look at your data once a month, and I think actually that's I don't look at my sales data like how am I doing this month or sales are up or sales are down. Like I know a lot of TPT sellers that I chat with, they like, oh no, this week is down, but I have no idea how I'm doing because I generally it's not, yeah, I don't know, like I find I get just too connected. So what do you do, Enrica, like the monthly? How would you look at your data?
Oh, every beginning of the month, I look at the same month the previous year,
Okay.
and I look at my bestsellers. For example, right now at the end of October, I looked at bestsellers at the end of for the month of November, and I try to see if I can recreate something like that, or if I can, I don't know, if I can improve my bestsellers. I most of my products are digital products, so more than a preview, I think it's valuable for me to have a video preview to show my product in action, and
Okay.
so I try to add something like that in order to improve.
So, so I have a question for you. So, Enrica. So,
I'm ready.
okay, you're ready. So the audience, so before we go on the air, Enrica and I talk behind, and we're like, oh, what are we going to talk about? And usually it's like 5 minutes before airtime that we actually scramble and do things. But one of the things that we chatted about before we went on, um, so and I showed her what we can do with this free tool. And by the way, I will make a tutorial so that everyone knows how to do this. But so you can import your TPT sales data in here, and I'm just going to use my previous version. Here's my redacted version. No, let's cancel that. Mike redacted. Is this it? So many options. This is it. Okay. So there's a tab down here where you can import your sales data. And I'm not going to do this on the air only because I took the time to redact and remove the names of the buyers, because as part of the TPT terms of service, you actually have to protect like the buyer name and privacy and stuff like that. I'm not a lawyer. Go check their terms of service. Okay. But one of the things that you can do is once you import their sales data, I can see by product how often people are buying my resource. And in fact, there's a tab here which is advanced, and I can set it so I can see by month who's buying my product every month, right? Like compared to the other months here. So I can see from here in the pivot table, I might want to go, I'm editing here, I can go down here and I'm going to filter it. So I'm just going to show who's buying my resource in October, for example, right? And then it'll show me who's buying my resource in October. And then I don't think there's a way in here for me to hide. I guess I could just hide manually. I could go up here and just hide it, the columns. So my question, so I know I can do this. I'm going to go into November, and my question for you, Enrica, is, let me just switch it back to November. So here are the purchases for November. And in fact, I'll probably, I thought that there would be, oh, it's showing, I don't know why it's showing items that are not in here. It must be showing something else as well. Why can't I just go look at these resources? Like, why do I need the product stats file for this? Why can't I use your strategy where, okay, last year in November, my reading comprehension strategy did awesome. Therefore, I should work on my reading comprehension strategy.
Yeah, but I can see, okay, last year my reading comprehension did really well, but I have really, if I look at it, I have a lot of product reviews, and the conversion in sales is not so high. So maybe my product review is not so good. I might should work on that, or I have like a few views and a lot of people who bought it, so I might work on my snippet and my cover. It depends. When I see data, when I see everything, I
Okay.
know exactly where to focus on.
So I just want to ask a little bit more here, and I'm going to filter this by just my reading bundle. So I just cleared everything, and I'm going to type reading bundle. I don't even know what, I have too many reading bundles. Reading comprehension bundle. That's the, oh, it's the first one. Reading comprehension strategies mega bundle. Okay, so I'm just going to show this. Okay.
Okay.
So
So
so you're saying, like, let's pretend this was from November. Like I saved this
yeah.
file from November. But
You
that,
have a lot of views,
yep, I have a
but
lot of views.
your preview rate is not so high. So people
Okay,
look at it, but they look for something else
right.
probably, and they don't
Okay,
look at your preview. So maybe there is something in your cover or in your snippet that is not good enough. So even if
okay,
you have, people find it, but they don't take the time to look at the preview.
right. I'm going to caution us by saying that it's red here because if I undo the filter, if I just sort it by Z to A, it's red because relatively speaking, like 0 is the red. It's a gradient. But I've heard on TPT land, other people say like, oh, a 20% product preview rate is good. So it's not hard coded. It's only showing up in red
Yeah, yeah.
because,
But this
right?
was just an example. This is
Yeah.
what
Okay.
I
Yeah.
can read from data.
Yes. Okay. So here's my question for you. I'm just going to go back to showing just the reading comprehension one. I'll just go up to the top here because it's my first one. Sort by Z to A. Okay.
Yeah.
And audience who's watching this, I run TPT ads. That's why the page views are so high. So let's say I did this. The problem with the product stats data, even if I downloaded September last year, is that it's the average across the entire lifespan of that product.
Yeah, it should be possible. It's not, but from my point of view, should be possible to download monthly data. You
Like
know?
monthly data from like
Yeah,
October, like
yeah,
October 1st, October 31st for your product
yeah,
stat. Yeah, that's coming, by the way, Enrica. Like that's going to come in the data tool where you just upload like October 1st, October 31st, and then November 31st, and you'll be able to
yeah.
compare before and after.
That's what I'd love to see, because I would love to be able to see my data monthly, and then if I have to download them monthly, I will do it. I will put an alarm and try to remember to do it.
Right. Okay. So what? Because I
If my
love.
son, who is maybe watching, doesn't create an automation to download data.
Okay, so I'm glad that you mentioned that point. We're over time, but I want to talk about this. So technically speaking, it is against the terms of service to automate access to TPT. So
I do the access to TPT. I just download
I
data automatically. You know?
so so I
I
because
would love to. I don't have a way to do it yet.
um so wait, I do want to find that terms of service. Lots it's oh, maybe it's their terms of service are so funny because they have legal terms of service, but then they have community guidelines. I'm not a lawyer. This is not legal advice. This is just entertainment. TPT content guidelines. They have but they yeah, here we go. Don't so technically speaking, according to their community guidelines for all TPTers, which are part of their legal document for the terms of service, it says don't use any automated means such as bots, spiders, or crawlers to download or otherwise obtain data from our services. So,
I think this is not related to my data. My data are my property. And I think this is something different to see. It might be related to see which products are in the first pages or something like that.
yeah. So
Because
again, well, the
I,
caveat is Enrique and I are not lawyers, so none of this is
yeah,
legal advice.
this is
But
just my opinion.
yeah,
I'm not even English, so I don't understand legal talk.
jurisdictions
It's
and fun.
impossible for me. You know? But I think that if I want to download my data monthly
Right.
and I have something that does it, it's on my computer with my data. Why not?
And I think I
I'm
would
not
agree with
sure
that.
this is related to what we are talking right now.
Well, it's related to the automated, so
Yeah,
life is
but
easier
you
if you can
don't load
automate data.
data, generically speaking, data from TPT.
So depending on how you did it, they would have no way of knowing that it's automated versus a human doing it. And
Yeah.
and for background, I've emailed TPT support and asked them like, hey, do you have an API which is a computer code, or can I just set up Google Chrome to automatically download my data? And they said yes. And then I asked, can I share how I do that or how you could do that with the community? But I don't think they responded, and I haven't followed up. So you're right, but I think legally, I don't know if we own the data. We own our
Oh,
content that we upload, and we own content that we create, but I don't know if that's a legal question. That's kind of interesting. But the only point I wanted to mention is I would love to hear about how your son automates and downloads that CSV data, because that
if
would
he
be
does it, because he's a teenager, so I'm not
yeah.
sure.
And if not, I have there are ways that we can do it. But then part of this is like with great power comes great responsibility. But that idea about, well, okay, touching base with TPT, technically I see this line that says don't use automated bots. And really they're talking about slowing down their servers by having like what SEMrush does, or what companies like any TPT keyword company that finds your position. That's
Mhm.
an automated resource that's scraping their website and
Yeah.
loading, like slowing down their website. And so maybe they have permission, maybe they don't have permission, like who knows. But yeah, you're right. Automating this data would make life easier. But I think a better answer is if TPT just made it part of their product preview, like their
Yeah.
data stats. Like if they
Yes, it would be awesome.
so my question for you, the last question, Enrica, what do
Yeah.
you wish in their product stats, what do you wish you could do, so that you don't have to download your data and get your son to maybe make a report or not make a report?
I would love to see monthly data from even from the dashboard. When
Yeah.
you look at the dashboard, instead of only have the graph, just to look at, to see what you see in the product stats,
Okay.
or to be able to filter the product stats like the dashboard. You know?
Yeah. Yeah, that would be neat, right? Or if this was by month, like you could see that this
Hmm.
was
Yeah.
this was your monthly numbers for October or monthly number
Yeah.
for September. Okay. Last thought I'm going to leave with everyone, which is a call to action. So on the YouTube channel for SEOTpreneur, the very first, oh, that's funny because that's what's airing right now. There's an episode called "Should I Be Blackballed by the TPT Seller Community?" Um, but more importantly, if you click on the description here, there's two things we're asking for, like, be a first follower, but ask TPT to do a seller survey. I emailed them and asked them, and they said, yeah, there might not be appetite to do another seller survey, but they responded. So if you have ideas about what you'd love to see in that TPT seller stats or the TPT product stats, email them and say, hey, I'd love for this to be part of the data, right? And
Yeah.
that's part of the conversation. Any last
I'd
thoughts,
love that.
Enrica, before we jump off?
No, I don't have any. I'm tired tonight. It's evening for me, so you know, it's a long day.
I'm tired
But
too. Um, Lisa, thank you for saying hello. That was the epic
yes,
highlight of my day for
Lisa,
today.
we love to know that someone else was watching.
Awesome. And I will start the outro, and we'll see you all next time.